Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, May 9th, 2022, and I'm here for my weekly cross-stitching update. I have a good amount to share with you, got mostly all of my goals done this week, and yeah, I think my videos are going to be kind of short in May, as all of you so kindly commented last week. My May will not be boring, as I said, but it's not going to contain new starts, which is why I called it boring compared to other people's channels in the month of May. But I will have fewer projects each week as well, which is also kind of why I labeled it boring. But still, it will change a little bit, so because I'm going to be doing my Whip Go pieces each week. So you'll have one bonus week project every week. So I got a couple things for Mother's Day, which are fun. They're both quilting related. Oh yeah, and I had some fat quarter shop stuff. It's downstairs. I'll do it next week. But this first one is called Social Sharks by Elizabeth Hartman. And I saw this on Amy Loves Toads channel. She's making this whole quilt for her VW Bug. I guess they call it Jaws. Is the nickname of their van. And so she wants to put this in there. And I think that's great. My son loves sharks and lions, but my other son loves dogs and bears, and I had a dog block in one of the quilt books from the Fat Quarter Shop that he's like, oh, I want you to make that for me. So at some point I'm planning to make him the dog block, possibly as either a buddy, a stuffed animal pillow or blanket, and then I can make my other son a stuffed animal pillow or blanket with a shark on it. I don't have plans for a specific quilt block for my daughter, but I make her other stuff. Like this summer, I'm hoping to put together the pieces, the Prim Stitch series into a stuffed animal quilt for her. So she gets other things. She'll be okay. And she's getting some other, like I think my Under the Sea Cell, I'll make her into a bag, you know, so she gets some of my projects, my cross-stitch projects. This is one I'm kind of excited about. This is just for me. This is called Dogwood. And I saw this, I think just on Amazon. It's by the Designer's Workshop, but they also have a website there. It's foundation paper piecing, which I've actually never done, but I love the look of it and the concept of getting really fine details out of fabric. So I'm excited to try this. I opened up one of the pages, you know, after I opened my present, and it's pretty cool. So I'm excited to try this. And I had seen somebody post, I think on Instagram, a place called Legit Kits, which sell foundation paper piecing kits and patterns. But they're more expensive and they're quite large. So I had a kit I had been looking at on there that was like a small kit. But still, as far as gift giving, it's kind of outside of the price range of most people. So I found this was just a pattern. It was a lot more reasonably priced. I'm like, yeah, let's give it a try. So maybe if I love it, I can move on. But they have this full size, which will only be 25 by 27. So it's not huge. It's small. And they also have two smaller ones, which I suppose could be pillows because they're just basically one flower. So I'm going to try this. And even though it says dogwood with white flowers, I might just use up my stash fabric with pinks and purples and who knows what. So it may not be horticulturally accurate, but that's okay, right? Yeah, so let's jump in. Start with travel stitching. I didn't work on my butterflies again this week, but I did notice my temperature butterflies. I did notice I have them listed for a prompt in Stitch Into the Wild, which is a Facebook group that I'm involved in, and I need to get at least 100 stitches on it this month for one of those projects. So I'm going to stick to that. So at some point I'm going to do it. I need to work on this again. So this is where this one's at. No change. I'm still filling in April and I need to get started on May. So, but it's okay. I did get caught up on my temperature Wander With Me, which is for the kitty cat one with paw prints. And there's also a dog version. And this is where I got with that one. This is 27 count Linda 1/1 full cross in Vintage Country Mocha. So I got these next 3 paws finished. These 2 I could have done last week, and then I added a new one that I was able to do this week. Had all the temperatures for that. As you can see, one paw, I think that was 90 degrees. That toe pad there was a little warmer. Supposedly, like yesterday and today are pretty cool again. So this next paw I think will be lighter, more cool shades again, but the one after that might be pretty hot. Supposedly, when I went to collect my temperatures for this past week, it's supposed to get to the high 90s this weekend. So we may get some new colors in my paws pretty soon. So we'll see about that. It's been a very mild year so far compared to other years. I've lived here in Southern California for over 20 years. And in my memory, I'm remembering it getting warm in February and hot in March, and it just stays hot and just kind of increases in hot. It's hot, hot, really hot, 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 really hot, you know, throughout 9 months of the year. So thankfully it has not been like that this year. It's been spring, a lot longer spring for us, where we have had a couple patches up into the low 90s, a decent amount of chunks in the 80s, but overall, like 60s and 70s are not a foreign concept yet at this part of the year, which is really nice. So I'll take it. I did a tiny bit on my, oh yeah, also in here, I almost forgot, year-end stitches. I did work on this a little bit. So this is my Victoria sampler, year-long stitch-along. It's all out now. It was a mystery stitch-along last year. You can find them now individually on their Victoria Sampler website in the creative designs section. I'm working on May now. I finished April and I'm working on May, and I'm doing this as my own stitch along, with trying to do each part in the month that it goes with. And so far I've been keeping up to date pretty well. I finished April in the beginning of May, but that's okay. I did get it done and I started May. So here we are. This is on, so fun. I love seeing it all together. This is 28 count Dove Gray Monaco, and I'm doing all the cross stitches 2/2. So it's full size cross stitches, and specialty stitches are usually with 1 strand. Occasionally the satin stitches are 2 strands. So there's April all finished. So many different colors. So that one was a little bit more fiddly than some of the other ones had been, just because I got out almost every color that I had pulled. But these purple flowers turned out really cute. I got the little people. I changed their clothes colors to be a little bit more like me and my husband. And his umbrella is like Denver Broncos colors. So it's a little bit personalized. And then I moved over, I did 1 length of border floss to enclose May, and then got started on the tree. There is all finished in the brown color. There will be other bits there. And then I went ahead and decided to make the bunny in dark brown, because there's a path right next to it that's going to be in the light brown. So I didn't want to do a light brown bunny next to a light brown path, because then I'd have to do some back stitching along its face, and no. I'll just make a dark brown bunny, and it's okay. I didn't want to make a gray bunny either. I think that would have been, yeah, I don't know that would have worked really well. I don't know. And around here we have brown bunnies, so I'm okay with that. Sometimes they live in our bushes in the front yard and hang out in the backyard munching the clover in the lawn. I haven't seen any recently, so the bobcats and coyotes might have gotten them all, but maybe we'll get some more back again at some point. My Under the Sea Club by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I did a little bit, not very much. I need to make more time for this if I'm going to keep up on it, but this is the year-long stitch along by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, and I just refilled my black ink this morning, so when the next part comes out, I can get a better preview picture for you. But you know what this looks like. It's all over social media because it's so cute. Okay, I'm doing mine on 25 count even weave in my light blue color. And this is where I got to 1/1 full crosses with all of my own colors. This deep blue sea for these waves is the only called for color. And I got the dark brown black color finished in this set, except for the manta ray's eyeball. It's the only stitch in that color down here, and so I'm gonna wait until I do the rest of him before I come and do that, because especially doing this 1/1, the back stitching is one strand, just like the cross stitches. So when I do their eyes, they like to back stitch around their eyeball to kind of make it stand out. So I'll stitch the whole manta ray, come back with my single strand, do my X and around the eye, and all in one string. So I'll do that one later. But I did all the other blacks. I did her skin. She's got dark brown skin, which I was a little nervous about. I chose Shades of Sable as the color conversion for whatever the skin tone was supposed to be, and I didn't know at the time it was going to be skin. So I was a little nervous about this color because there's like some purple bits in there. But I figured worst case, if the length, I can fussy cut it and just not use purple if it's meant for skin, because that would be weird. So it ended up mostly just the brown bits on her skin and hands there, so I think it worked out just fine. And then there was like a seahorse, I believe is the color that I used for her bicolor and cotton, her snorkel mask and belt and flippers. So that's what I got done on her. And yeah, so I worked on this while I chit-chatted with my sister, but I think I might need to step up my game a little bit. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know. It's fun to work on whenever I get it out, but I am a little bit behind it. That's okay. And another one that has been my quote-unquote bonus stitching almost every day. I've been working on this roughly one thread every day, although the other day, I forget what's Friday or Saturday, I can't remember. I probably have it written down. Yeah, Saturday. I stitched for over an hour because I wanted to use it for a prompt in the Stitch Into the Wild group. So I ended up getting 3 lengths of thread in that hour, which was well over 100 stitches. I could have just counted my stitches, but I didn't. But I got caught up ahead of what I had originally expected to get, because I did 3 strands of floss in one day, so I didn't work on it at all on Sunday, because Mother's Day made it a little bit less stitching time, so I went ahead and just finished my Wander With Me paw that I had left and jumped right into my Amazing Grace. So this is the Summer Home Sal. Sorry to keep you stranded. This is part 2 that came out on Friday. And I was so excited. When I saw it, I'm like, oh, yay! Home sweet home. My mother loves this phrase. She used to collect a lot of home sweet home stuff. She doesn't do that quite so much anymore, but this made me think, yes, I need to make this for her when it's finished. So she likes blues and aquas and things anyways, and home sweet home. So I know who I'm giving this to when it's done. So that's great. I'm very excited to see that. It's always a gamble with a mystery stitch along to see if you'll even like it when it's done. So I'm excited about it now, really excited. And I'm also excited that it's not like one big house filling up the entire center, because that would be a lot of stitches. So here is where I got to. This is on the called for 14 count Aida in thin white pine board, I believe, by Fabric Flare. Pretty cool fabric. And I'm using the called for Crescent Colorworks, or Classic Colorworks. And there is also a DMC conversion available on the pattern. So yeah, I did. Oh, and I've also been working on this. So yeah, one strand a day pretty much all week until Friday. And then I think I did the H on Friday, and then Saturday I did the whole heart, which took 2 strands of thread, or most of 2. And then I did the M and like I think 1 of these. When I did the H, I did a little bit more of these than I had done before. So the border is not done, as you can see, but I'm gonna finish the E. If there's any thread left on my needle, I'll keep working on the little stitch part of the border. I'll do the Sweet Home, and then I have more time before Friday, I'll keep chipping away at the border. This is part 2, and then it looks like on the pattern it'll be 3, 4, 5. So I think I will focus in to get this corner. I think this is really close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is the last little bump before the corner, so that it'll be right here. So I want to make sure I turn the corner before Friday, so that I can make sure I space that clue properly. But I'll just keep chipping away at the border in and around all the other parts as they come out. So I'm pretty happy with my progress on that one. So it does take a little longer for some reason on the 14 count. I don't know, maybe I'm just used to smaller fabric, so, or maybe it's just the blocks of color. It just feels like sometimes I'm slogging through it, or that it's going slow. But I don't know, it's turning out cute, so I'm not complaining. Okay, my main projects this week were, I started out with my first Whip Go piece for May, which is Stargazer. I have 2 Whip Go boards, so when Jessie Marie Does Stuff calls the Whip Go numbers every month, I get 2 fancy ladies that I'm supposed to work on in that month, and then 2 full coverages that I'm supposed to work on. And my fancy lady goal is 3 days for each project, ideally in the month it's called, and then the full coverage goal is 1,000 stitches, because I can use Pattern Keeper and it tells me how many stitches I've stitched, so that works. I worked on this just fine on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday was May the 4th, and I was planning to do my Visit Endor piece for Star Wars Day for maybe 1 length of thread or something, and not do summer home that day potentially. I mentioned this concept to my son on the way to school, and he said, why don't you work on it the whole day? So who am I to say no to a teenage boy who wants me to cross stitch for him? So I worked on summer home for 1 strand, and then my Visit Endor piece on Wednesday. I was already planning to work on Knitting Woman for Rainy Day Reed's birthday on Thursday. So I decided to go ahead and pull this out for its 3rd day on Friday, which cut into Sampler of Stitches time. So that part is not finished, kind of snowball effect, but I figured the only one of those goals that was not as important was Sampler of Stitches, because I have the whole year to finish it. I didn't want to not work on Knitting Woman because I was planning to work on it for somebody's birthday, and I couldn't cut out Amazing Grace because I really want that finished by next month. So all of that to say, I did get my 3 days on Stargazer, and I got to a great goal. I'm really excited about it. So here she is. This is on 32 count MCG Textiles linen. It was white, and I double dyed it with denim RIT dye. And all the beads on the top are finished. And now all the cross stitches on the top half of the chart are finished. Yay! That was kind of my goal. I wanted to get everything. It's kind of right around here. There's still some beads, holes for beads in here that you can see, but the actual cross stitches on the top half are complete. So that's exciting in all the different colors. And I love how this front skirt is like popping off the fabric, and it totally looks a lot prettier than the picture against this navy than against the tan in the picture, but those are called for colors. This front skirt is called for. I didn't change that. So yay! I think she's pretty. So I worked on her quite a bit. It was, she actually got some time, which was good. So sometimes when my mirabilias come out, I end up not getting much on it. This one is a little bit harder to count on because the fabric is kind of plump from the dyeing process, and it's dark. So I'm not letting myself count too far. I'm sticking fairly close to previous stitches to make sure nothing gets off, which is a little bit unusual for me, but I'm okay with that. So my next one is Visit Endor, which I ended up doing. It was only 261 half stitches, but this one works up fairly quickly because it's all big blocks of color. And I got, I'm up here, like I'm fully completing it as I go down. There's a lot more to go, man. I think I'm like right here. So I will bring this back out for sure later later in the year when it gets called for Whip Go, because it is on my Whip Go board for 1,000 stitches. So, but this is a bonus 261 that will just be extra, which is great. I'm not counting it towards the 1,000. I'll still want to do a full 1,000 in the month it's called. So I had a little bit of this highlight, slightly lighter green. You can see there's a little bit of a slightly lighter green in there. This is 28 count Dove Gray Monaco as well, just like year-end stitches. This is 2/1 half stitches. And this color was still on my needle, so I finished some more of these like pine highlights, and then I filled in one strand of the dark green over on that side, because I'm doing the typewriter method, and this was higher unstitched than this side. I think the next highest is the dark green on this side. So more trees next time you see it, and then some more sky probably. So yeah, pretty fun. So that was for Star Wars Day on Wednesday. May the 4th be with you. And then Thursday, just Cinco de Mayo, I worked on Knitting Woman. This is the only day this past week, that I worked on it. And I worked on it for Rainy Day Reed's birthday here on Flosstube and Instagram. She was restarting one of her projects on 22 count Ada and wanted anybody working on full coverage or working on a restart to join her. And I thought, well, I'm already planning to work on my full coverage, and it happens to also be on 22 count fabric. So it worked out great. So I didn't want to move this when I needed to make space for Visit Endor. I didn't want to move this off of the 5th because I had plans. So this one got 277 stitches. So not a huge amount for a full day, but I think we had open house that night, and so it still got a good amount of time on it, but not a huge amount. This is 22 count Ada, 2/1 half stitches, and I'm filling in top down. I think I did some of this sleeve, maybe some of the red, and I will be working on this for 3 days this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that hopefully we'll see a nice chunk of stitching on this, because my Friday and Saturdays are often very good stitchy days. Not always, but often. So hopefully there'll be good stitching days this week, and I'll get a lot of progress on this. I'm so excited. So we'll see. And I did another day on Stargazer. Then I started in on my sampler of stitches, trying to do one letter every 2 weeks on this to try to finish it this year, because I think that would be fun. This is the, at a glance, all awkward here, the Drawn Thread Sampler of Stitches, and you buy it in 9 separate patterns. And I was gifted this, very generous stitcher. I'm working on the letter J up here, and this is, I was told by several of you, this is a jonquil flower, which is a type of daffodil. So yay! So that's great. And I did all of these ones. I still have the Jessica stitches left and the letter J itself to finish. So I didn't quite get this finished because I worked on Stargazer a lot on Friday. So if I had not worked on Stargazer on Friday, I'm very sure I could have gotten this done, this whole J section, but I really wanted to get my 3rd Whip Go day done on Stargazer and get to that halfway point on the pattern. So that's the way it is. So here is sampler of stitches all together, and maybe I'll do an up close. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'll do this. 30 count linen in custard cream. It's the called for, and all the called for MPIs. And as you can kind of see, this jacquard, I don't know how to say that, stitch really warped the fabric. So I'm not happy with that at all. And I'm tempted to take it out and redo it using cheater satin stitches. So like the back is solid as well, which is the way you're supposed to do it, but it warped it so bad, even worse than this other one over here that I think it was, yeah, it was this one that warped a little bit, even worse than that. So I don't want to take it out and redo it, but I don't know. I figured I'd do a little bit more around it and see if it loosens up a bit, but at this point it's kind of obnoxious. So let me know if you're working on this, what you did with that one. And I know maybe if it had been tight in a frame, it may not have warped that much. And since I'm in hand, I didn't have it stabilized while I was stitching, but I wasn't pulling tight. So I don't know. So anyways, I could have a few more Jessica stitches in there to do along the bottom of that vine and then cross stitch the letter J. So that will have to happen later because I'm moving on now. I will not bring this out this coming week because I'm planning to do Knitting Woman all weekend, or not, well, the Friday and Saturday that I would sometimes work on this, I'll work on that, and then I'll bring it out next Friday and Saturday to work on it some more. Sunday, I pulled out my Amazing Grace, which is going to be my Sunday stitch for the rest of the month. I'm working on this for a friend, so I really want to get it done. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to finish it in May, just at the rate I'm going. So I'm, at this point, planning to dedicate the first week in June to this. Let's see. I have the first Friday, Saturday in June is supposed to be another Sampler of Stitches weekend. So we'll see. I'll give it a good chunk of days, however that works, in the beginning of June to just knock this out. So I'll keep plugging away on my Sundays in May, and then in June, I'll focus on it until it's finished. So this is here where I got to. 28 count ivory Jobelin, 1/1 full crosses. Then I'm working on this cross motif, which is large. I think it may be the largest motif. I finished most of the green. I didn't want to start one more thread just for one more leaf because I'd rather wait and do this verse. And then once I get the green on my needle, I finish this and come over here and work on this one as well. But I want to make sure the spacing is right. So I got to where my thread wouldn't go, and then I came back and put in more purple. So I still have some purple on my needle because I cut it to start back over here rather than trail on the back. Speaking of backs, sometimes you guys care about backs. This is the back. Not too bad. I do carry in between words when they're this small, but not between line to line. I'll cut it and start a new line. And most of this is like I'll tuck the threads underneath the vine to come down to the next row, the next flower. But in between these two, it looks like I did that. I tucked through the cross on the green, but not the purple. So anyways, sometimes it's fun to share. The backs reveal like your process of the path you took and the method you did, and you know, shows and all of that. So this week is going to be, for lack of a better word, boring compared to, it won't have a big variety. I have Amazing Grace again, Knitting Woman again, but my new one will be, and Summer Home. I'll do some bonus stitching throughout the week on Summer Home, at least one length of thread every day, assuming I feel like I have time for it. And my Whipco piece this week, which will be the one bonus piece, not bonus, but because I use bonus in other ways, my one unique piece that will be brought out this week is Norwegian Ship Under Sail. This was one of the full coverage pieces that was drawn in Whipco, so I need to put 1,000 stitches into this one. And I have this one and my other full coverage one that was pulled this month are both half stitch projects, so I'm hoping to get the 1,000 stitches fairly quickly, especially since I'm in the background on both of them. it's entirely possible that I could, given good stitching conditions, get them done in 2.5 days, and maybe I'll spend some time on something else for the rest of the third day if I finish early. So likely I have a couple options. I can work on the Under the Sea Club to get that caught up. I could work on my temperature butterflies to get that more caught up, things like that. I could give more time to Knitting Woman. So it just, how much time I have left and what I'm in the mood for will determine what I do. So this is my starting point on Norwegian Ship Under Sail. And this is on 25 count, even weave. 2 over 1 half stitches. And I believe I'm at the end or very close to the end over here, because there was some challenge last year, possibly. I think it was for Terry Lee Craft's birthday, and she wanted to see how many new starts or new page starts you could make for her birthday. So I forget exactly what it was, but I remember hop, skipping, and jumping to get through all these pages and start a whole bunch of pages. So I got to the very close to the edge of the chart over here. So the front several columns of the first page are done, and then it's denser here. This is a little bit of the start of the boat, and I might, depending on how confetti heavy it is in this corner, I might try learning basket weave stitch on this piece, because and I may also try it on my Princess de Broglie that it's coming out in a couple weeks, because that background has a lot of similar colors as well. And I was researching it because I want to do a tiny stitching project of from By the Bay Needle Arts called Needles. I Am a Needlesmith, and I want to use 56 count, 1 over 1, probably half stitch with 103 silks, because I know you can do a full cross on 56 count with Soie Surfine silk, but it's expensive and I don't have any of it. And that pattern has quite a few colors. I looked through my fancy floss that I have, and I have purchased 2 or 3 packs from Redfish Dye Works, which actually dye yarn, but they had some silk packs of embroidery thread at a yarn show that I went to a few years back. So I was looking at that, and the strands on that silk is quite thin. So I'm thinking I need to compare it to the 103 that comes with my drawn thread sampler, is a Vera Soie 103. And so if this is a similar thickness to that silk, then I'll use that silk for all the fun colors. It'll brighten up the piece quite a bit, because my silks are bright and cheerful. And the I Am a Needlesmith pattern is charted for more muted colors, so it'll be definitely a me piece. But I discovered that they sell 103 silks at Joann's in the Gutermann brand. So for sewing and hand embroidery on quilting and things like that. So I am going to probably do some test stitching, would be the smart thing to do, on my 56 count with this 103 cream that I have, to just see what I like in the full cross, half cross. If I'm gonna, my thinking at this point is, if I do a 1 over 1 half cross with 103, I think that might be a good match of thickness, thread thickness to fabric size. I'm gonna need some neutrals in the Gutermann silks at Joann's to complement all the pretty colors that I have in the Redfish Dye Works silk. And there's a lot of large chunks of color in the By the Bay project. So I'm thinking of doing basket weave stitch on that project. So I've never done basket weave stitch. It's been a mystery to me. I watched a video tutorial this week, and it actually seems really easy. So I just needed to figure it out and look at it. So I want to kind of get that concept in my head on fabric I can see. amazing concept, like the 25 and 28 counts that I'm working on this week. And if I can, you know, get that wrapped under the concept secure in my head, then I will be more confident moving over to the 56 count. So that's my plan. So we'll see. If there's too much changing in color, it might not work very well, but I'm thinking if you're up in the sky, I don't know, this one has a lot of clouds, so there's more color changes and feathering than, and I'm not sure how well basket weave stitch will work with that, but we'll try it. And then Princess de Broglie I think will be even easier. I'll show you that real quick, because this is the one I'll be working on in 2 weeks, and I cropped the top off, so I'm over, but I think I have most of the way across in stitching, and I think I also cut off like this much. So I'm like right here, and there's a whole lot of nothing right there. So I think it'll be really nice to try basket weave stitch on some of those pieces and kind of learn a new skill. So I think that'll be fun. That's my plan. Only really 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces this week. I guess 5, 6, 7. When you count in my travel stitching, it kind of adds up. But my main piece is just 3, and then summer home and some travel stitching. So there's still a variety. Anyways, with that, I will leave you and let you go keep cross stitching or clean your house or whatever it is you need to do. And have a wonderful week. Happy stitching. Bye.